Hey everyone, Patty Boy here. Good morning, and yes, it is morning. So why are we doing this first thing in the morning? Well, because I thought that the last video we did a regional favorite, if you remember, from New Jersey. So I thought I'd do one more regional favorite from my home state, upstate New York. And the reason that we're doing this in the morning is because we're making some Speedies, okay? And I like to get them all chopped up and get them in the marinade and marinate them at least for the whole day, if not a couple days. Today they're just going to be for the whole day. So, what is Speedy sauce? Well, or Speedies, okay? This is the company in upstate New York that makes the Speedy sauce. So, what are Speedies? Essentially, Speedies are kebabs or shish kebabs. You put them on skewers. So why are they called Speedies? Well, all right, this is where the history comes in. It's actually, not only is it from my upstate New York, from my home state of upstate New York, but it's also from my people, the Italians. So the way the story goes is everybody that migrated to New York City, eventually people started leaving the city and migrating into other states. They migrated into Pennsylvania and down south, and there were a lot of people that migrated into upstate New York. So anybody who lives in upstate New York knows that there's literally miles and miles of flat fieldstone walls, probably about this high, 2 or 3 feet high. And that was from all of the people that migrated from New York City up into New York. They were looking for work. And the local farmers would let them stay in the barn or let them stay on their property. And, for a few cents a day, they would build these stone walls. So the Italian families, they needed a quick lunch, something that they could bring along with them, that they could eat, that they could make quickly, that was cheap, and that they could eat. And something that was speedy. So they came up with this sauce. It's got oil, it's got vinegar, it's got all kinds of herbs and seasonings in it. And they cut up whatever cheap meat they could find into little cubes. So that's the way we do it. This one here, I happen to be using a steak today, or a roast, I should say. But, just little 1-inch by 1-inch cubes are going to be perfect. And it all goes into the marinade. So they would cut up the cheap meat and marinate it in this. And because it's a vinegar base, the vinegar would actually cook the meat. You'll notice if you marinate this, after a day or so, the meat that you put in is red, and then it comes out and it's got a brown look to it. So the vinegar in it will keep it for a long time, and it will cook it essentially. So this was their lunch. They could cook it over an open flame real quick, and then it just went on to an Italian roll, what today you and I would call a sub roll or a hoagie roll. They made Italian bread in little roll shaped about this long, and just a little bit of butter and the meat. And then you would mix the meat with peppers and onions. And again, same thing, just cut them into little chunks. And it all goes in. So, one of those Italians came up with this sauce and started his own business. And this has been an upstate New York favorite for many, many years. They also have chicken Speedy sauce. But, you can't even go to the state fair or a local fair without finding Speedies for sale at the fair in the food section. So this has been, for many years, this has been a favorite of ours, okay? Now, normally the way I make it, the way I first tasted this when I was still living in New York was with venison, deer meat. And that's actually my favorite way, is with venison cut up in it. This is steak. It's still very, very good. So this is what we're having for supper tonight. And again, the Speedy sauce, whatever meat you choose, cut up into little 1-inch by 1-inch cubes, bite-sized cubes. Peppers, onions, again, cut up into cubes that can fit, because we're going to skewer them. We're going to put them on the skewers and we're going to grill them. And I like to put some chunks of garlic in there just to add a little garlic flavor to it. And I'm sure that they didn't do this back then, but I like to add slices of jalapeno. And then my favorite sandwich is just a meat with jalapeno peppers. But, so it all goes in, and just make sure that everything is submerged. And this particular bowl has a lid, so we'll put a lid on it, but make sure you cover it with something. And just leave it covered and just let it set. You can put it in the fridge. You can leave it out at room temperature, whatever you prefer. If it's going to be for a few days, I would put it in the fridge. So today we're going to cook this afternoon or this evening for supper. So like I said, it's morning. It's just going to sit out all day, but I'll cover it. It'll stay at room temperature because the vinegar's in there. I feel confident that there will be absolutely no problems as far as bacteria and whatnot. So we're all cut up. I gave you a little bit of history about the Speedy sauce and where Speedy's came from. And we're going to let this marinate all day long, and then I'll come back later on today when we cook them. I'll cook them for you and show you the sandwich. Hey everyone. So, as you can tell by the beer that it's not morning anymore. So we're at the end of the day. It's supper time now. So the Speedies have been marinating all day long. They're nice and tender, and then just like I said, you've put the red meat in, and the vinegar that's in there starts to kind of cook the meat and turns it brown. And so we got them skewered up. We got the grill going, and we're going to put them on the grill and get these things cooked. They don't take long at all. You want to leave them nice and moist. So just cook them for a few minutes. Just give them a couple of, a little bit of turn here and there. You don't need to cook them for a really long time. So again, upstate New York Speedies. These are steak Speedies. And as soon as we get done cooking these things, we're going to get you guys a sandwich going. Show you how they're meant to be eaten. So, upstate New York, I believe the company is called Salamita's New York State Fair Speedy Sauce. And I know that there are a couple more companies that make the Speedy sauce. And I also know that if you go online and look it up, you can find many different recipes where you can make your own Speedy sauce. Myself personally, I just like to buy the New York State Fair Speedy sauce. It's always been the one that I've always used, and to me, that's the one that tastes, that's the Speedy sauce taste, so that's what I use. Many different ways of doing it. I mean, you know how things are over the years. People come up with their own ways. It's been done with lamb, chicken, steak. As I said earlier, I've used venison. You can do all meat. We do meat with peppers and onions. You saw that. I like to have jalapenos on mine. Some people like to just have meat only, and that's it. So there's really no wrong way to do it. All right, it's just an upstate New York Speedy sandwich. Do it your way, however you like it. But with the sauce that's on there, it's going to be primarily a vinegar sauce. And what I do is I save some back before I put the meat in it. So as we're cooking this, I can spoon a little bit over the meat, which is one of those things you're going to want to watch out for because it will flare up. It will start fire. There's oil in it, and it will flare up. So just be careful if you're going to do it that way. Okay, so we're ready to go. They're ready to come off. So I told you about how I keep some back and, just baste it on there as I'm cooking them. Well, also what I do is take a little bit of that unused and put it in the bottom of the plate. So then when we take these off the grill like this, you've got just a little bit of the marinade that it can just sit in, keep itself moist. And that's it. That is it. So simple. All right. As I told you, this sandwich is designed. Hey, you're going to burn your nose, dog. Come on. These sandwiches are designed for a quick lunch. All right. So it's the rolls. You got the hoagie rolls, and all they did was just a little bit of butter, and that was it. Yeah. So we're going to give these things a couple minutes to cool down. And I'll throw the sandwich together. Little Italian bread hoagie roll. one skewer. Now, I told you how I like mine. Mine's just meat with some jalapenos in there. Some people like just meat, but just put it right in the sandwich, pull it right out. That's it. There's your sandwich. So there really isn't anything extravagant or fancy about this, but it's a distinct flavor, and I really, really love it. And I think if you've never had this and you try it, that you guys are going to love this too. So go ahead and try it. New York State Fair Speedy Sauce. Has a very distinct flavor. Keeps the meat nice and moist, just so long you don't overcook it. Very tender. Oh, this is so good. I could eat these every week. I love these things. There you go, kids. Another regional favorite, this time from my home state, upstate New York. State Fair Speedy Sauce. This one's made with steaks. You guys should check it out. I know if you do, you're going to love it. So thanks for checking this out, and thanks for being here and checking us out. And if you can, make it to YouTube. Check us out at Patty Boy's Grill on YouTube. View us and share us and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys. See you on the next one.